There are some uniquely valorous people associated with the United Nations. Dag Hammarskjöld lost his life in the spree that also killed Lambrakis and Kennedy. Francesca Albanese, I do not hate her. I think she's clearly right-minded about the approach and the necessity for the approach she recommends concerning Gaza. There are, however, indications that it's an unsafe institution. They allowed Nosratahu to use their phones in ordering one of his acts of tyrannical piracy, to put it mildly. If the report I got today is accurate, are slumming it in announcing that there is a famine in Gaza and excusing themselves because there's no professional Western reporters being allowed in. And of course, there's the miscarriage, to put it nicely, plotted by Ms. Goto, who was their peace ambassador for a while. All of these forces are present in the United Nations. But I'm forced to weigh in favor of labeling them an unsafe institution. The stability that they have is stability on behalf of perpetrators of a genocide. The power structure there is dominated by the U.S. veto. But what bothers me most is the way that they've organized their presentation. Maybe they can get the better of it and win me back. But for today, just for today, I'm down on them. Because they've organized their presentation to make a spiteful mockery of the American Civil Rights Movement. Everybody knows that the argument being made by Israel for arresting the Freedom Flotilla, it's the argument that Sheriff Jim Clark made on the steps of Alabama's Selma city desk, refusing to register black voters who he was required to register. If someone was required to register under the Supreme Court decision in Brown versus Board of Education. The malfeasance, the obstruction of justice is Israel's. What they are doing is criminal. And it's important that nobody do lip service to the criminal activities of Israel in any way, shape, or form. And the United Nations hedging on declaring it a man-made famine and starvation is a war crime. It's like they're saying that they believe that George Wallace was just misinformed when he said segregation now, segregation forever. It's an outrage. Now, the vagaries of American political science, especially with shifting in the driver's seat, announce that any historical reference, this is one of the ways they're getting rid of history, is by mispatrolling the historical references. Because simmering below the pot boiling is that with Yoko Ono stirring her witch's brew. It's that George Wallace took one in the spine. I didn't do that to him. Lewis is going to say I made him twist his ankle. I'm the jinx. Swami Nostra will wonder if you're defaming the man who shot James Garfield, or in some way hiding that you wish harm on George Bush, because they're psychotically obsessed with justifying themselves. You have to clear the air of the dark shadows, the banshees. What is being implied? Who's making me twist my ankle now as they chew the carpet? Because Seattle murdered a girl to get me to threaten them. They had to have that threat. They had to have that threat. They chewed the carpet and murdered a girl. Aha! The queer ball made a threat. And that went retroactively back through the ranks of Chris and Rosa to Mount Desert Island and the protection racket surrounding Leslie Katz, who was the aggressor. She was the aggressor. She wasn't Freedom Flotilla. She may have been the Black Panthers' lunch program, but she wasn't the Freedom Flotilla.